welcome to the Coco Show. We're doing it really late today because Red Phil's going to be joining us because he's kindly let us use his channel today because of being yet again banned. So yeah, so hi to everybody who I've not yet met. I look forward to saying hello to you when you pop up. I'm just going to be pulling all the other screens up as well because we are live on quite a few different places. So have to bear with me a second. Right, that one's up. So we are live on Wake Up UK. We should be on VK as well. Let me just check. Right, sorry guys, you're going to hear this in the background for a second. On Wake Up UK, we should be on VK as well. Yeah. Just going to do it again a couple more times, so I do have to apologise for that because until I get them all up, it is just going to keep popping up. So I hope everybody's all right. Hi, Stephen. I hope you're chilling out today and relaxing. Happy Valentine's Day as well to everybody. And pull Facebook up as well because we are live on. I hate that. It always gives me volume after, but here we go. And we should be live on the Children Matter website as well. Let me just check. No, we're not. Why are we not live on there as well? Right, for some reason that's not working, so I'll have to sort that one out at a different time. Let me just check the emergency channel as well. Sorry guys, I will be back in a second. Make sure you give this a like and a share and get it out everywhere. Red Phil and Sharon will be joining shortly as well. Hello Babs, I hope you're well. I can see you over there on the emergency channel. We are live on Red Phil as well. It's really annoying me that this isn't working. But it should be working. Everywhere else seems to be working perfectly fine. So hi everybody. Hello from Scotland as well. Michelle, Toronto, Lee, Stephen, Tracy. Hi everybody. Nadia and Stephen over on D Live as well. Hi everybody. Right, so all the links for all the channels should be in the description as well. So you should be able to get to all the other channels that way. Yeah. So there's a couple of things that we're probably going to end up talking about today. I'm just going to hope that Red Phil's going to jump on it a bit, and I'm going to message Sharon in a second and see if she wants to come on soon or if she wants to pop on in a bit. Right, so which screen am I keeping up? I'll keep that one up for a minute. Right. Hi, Ultimate Valorize. I hope you're well. So for everybody who doesn't know who I am and what Children Matter is, hi. Yeah, I'm Katie-Jayne, and we run a group called childrenmatter.news. We're on basically every platform at the minute that you can think of. And we fight for the kids, basically. And, you know, we try and help others who are also fighting for the kids in different ways. So, for example, like me and Red Phil work together, yet we do things completely differently. We come from completely different backgrounds. But one thing that we both believe in and we both understand is that for our children to have a safe future, for them to have a realistic future where they can be safe, loved, cared for, and can have their own families and their own children, that we have to tackle every area that we can do. We can't just sit back and let each of us deal with our own causes. We do need to get our hands dirty. We do need to put some effort in. We do need to build relationships and bond with other causes because that's realistically the only way that we're going to go about actually getting some justice here and actually getting the country back to where it needs to be. Sorry, I need to drink in a minute and I'm going to turn the light on because I keep forgetting how dark it gets, especially in this area. So hi everybody, because we're on Red Phil's channel as well, everyone give us a shout out, let us know whereabouts you're watching from, and we'll start from there, because at the minute I need a drink. Bad smoker. Right, I'm going to turn the light on and I will be 2 seconds. Oh, it's only next to me. Right, that's a bit better. Won't go as dark as fast now, so it's not too bad. Right, so as I said, Red Phil's going to be joining in a bit as well, and he has kindly said to use his channel today as well as the other ones, and we had to do this one a bit later, but anyhow, we're all right. Oh, from Ireland, Northern Ireland. I like Ireland. Unfortunately, I've never actually been in person yet, but I do have a couple of admin who are over in Ireland as well, and I'm dying to go and see them as soon as I can. I've even got an old friend from the army over there as well, so I'm looking forward to that. TW, hi TW, hope you're well. Michael Poxon as well, down in Wolves and Southampton. So we've got people from all over. I love that. I do love seeing it from people coming together from all over, especially when it's for the greater good. Hi Churchy, yeah, I'm not too bad. I hope you're well as well. So the show's obviously a lot later than what it normally is, and we can get around it a little bit because obviously we're doing it on a different channel to what we normally do. What's this? I have a question about the youth. Wait, put it up. I have a question about the youth. What future are they going to have? I feel like things are going to get worse and worse. Well, unfortunately, we can never tell exactly where things are going to go, especially with our youth, because our youth are so malleable. And yeah, our youth are very malleable, so it can go either way. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the tools that they're given before adulthood, really. And it all starts from home. Everyone's got the chance to do great things. Everyone's got the chance to come out and to we've just got to be the best people we can be, especially for our kids, because our kids are influenced by what they're around. So as long as we all send out the good vibrations and the good vibes, and we show them that there's always a better way, then that's the best way we can go about it. From England. Thought you was a murderer for a minute, then realised it's a love art. Yeah. Valentine's Day, so my mates made me do something. I did have black and red lipstick on as well, but I decided like 2 minutes before the show started, I ain't doing that. But yeah, because it's Valentine's Day, I thought, fuck it, I might as well put some effort in. And obviously, because I'm a very negative person, very black person, I had to do the makeup as well to go with it. So, fuck it. But we're not turning this into a makeup show because otherwise Jason will have me forgot to forget us. We've got London as well. No worries, Steve. Speak to you soon. There's a couple of people jumping off. I'm just going to get rid of the children matter one because it's not up on there. I hope your son feels better soon, Babs. Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So I'm going to keep flicking back and forth through the channel. Something pops up earlier. I had something sent to me over on WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp. Called No Jab, No Food. And I'm thinking that might be a good place to start off, especially if we're going to be bringing Phil on. But I do want to kind of wait till Phil is on to bring it up, though, because I've got a feeling Phil will have a lot to say as well. Sorry, I'm just seeing what the Tarantula's doing. A good foundation is what they need. Yeah, exactly. As long as we can be there for our kids as much as possible, as best as we can, when and wherever we can, then that's all we can do. All we can do is give them the tools that they'll need later on in life. The tools to be able to stand up for themselves, tools to be able to. I just realised I've got a pile of washing behind me there. See coming over on this screen. Not as bad this side. So yeah. What the kids need more than anything is the tools to get by in life, the tools to be able to do what they need to do to get to where they need to get to be able to stand up for themselves, to do what's best. No worries, Lee. Well, I'm hoping that Phil and Sharon will come on soon. I'm going to have to send Sharon the link. All right, Rainbow. Oh, Bob, sorry. You're on a new tag. I like it. Yeah, it's me on Phil's channel, so I do apologise for that. I'm going to send Sharon the link over now as well. So hopefully Sharon will come and join us. Sent Sharon the link. Sharon's still in hospital. She's hoping to be released from hospital tomorrow with luck. So if she can't come on, obviously she can't come on, but she did say earlier on to send her the link. Hi TK, I hope you're well. I saw your video pop up earlier. I've not had a chance to watch it yet though. But it looks interesting. I like the thumbnail. The thumbnail's caught my attention. Yeah, she's had one of the drains took out. I think she had 4 in. She's had one of the drains took out. She's all right. She just wants to go home, I think. Let's have a look on D-Live. I fight for my nieces, nephews, my godchildren, all the children growing up in this nasty world. My son's 26 now. I know can look after himself and his godchildren. Yeah, well, yeah. It's just about making sure that they've got the tools and the foundations to be able to do that, isn't it? So I'm just catching up with all the comments. TW Nadia says hello over on D Live. We're live on so many different places. I have to keep flicking through, so I do apologise, guys. I should really just keep one up and just pay attention, really. But it's very distracting when I've got another picture of myself bloody popping up next to me. So, yeah, Phil said about 4 o'clock he'd be on. So he's only got about 8 more minutes. Right. Tell you what, I'm just going to put it on. So let me move you over onto this screen for a moment. And I'm going to put this on. So this is over on Hugo Talks channel. This is, right. You just watch how it is. Right, so I'm just going to put it on full screen.
Hello, you're listening to Hugo Talks, another episode of Lockdown News Roundup. In this, we have more stuff about the passport, the so-called passport that the government have been pretending they know nothing about. Of course, all of this time, they have been lying to you as they have been planning the passport for a long time. They have been paying companies to produce and manufacture these passports since last June, last year, and probably much longer. We've got Tony Blair coming out talking about the passport. And this morning, we've had Dominic Raab, the Foreign Secretary, who literally said on LBC that there may be a possibility that vaccine passports will have to be used to go to the supermarket. So we've gone from 3 weeks to flatten the curve to you have to get a jab or you can't buy food. Strangely enough, the public need to buy food in order to live. It's a basic necessity. If you're going to stop the public from accessing food in order to force them into a jab, then this could end up in a civil war. It says here, Dominic Raab has refused to rule out the use of so-called vaccine passports to allow entry to supermarkets and pubs. Just last week, the UK government appeared to shut down suggestions of a domestic passport system. But now Foreign Secretary Raab has said they're under consideration. Speaking on LBC's Swarbrick, Raab was asked whether vaccine passports would be required to get into pubs and supermarkets, to which he replied, it is something that hasn't been ruled out. It is under consideration. Asked by Sky News' Sophie Ridge if the...
So basically they're looking at not allowing you to go grocery shopping, not allowing you to go into a pub, a restaurant, bar, whatever, without a vaccine passport. So it's gone from being able to travel outside of the country to being able to do your own shopping.
The government was considering the introduction to vaccine passports last week. Zahawi, the vaccine minister, said, no, we're not. 1, we don't know the impact of vaccines on transmission. 2, it would be discriminatory. And I think the right thing to do is to make sure that people come forward to be vaccinated because they want to, rather than it be made in some way mandatory through a passport, he said. So we've got 2 completely conflicting opinions there. One says, no, it would be discriminatory. It wouldn't be right. We want people to get the vaccines by choice. And then another one saying, well, we might just stop people going to the supermarket if they don't have a vaccine passport. This alone proves that they are all liars. Why on earth how on earth can you trust any organization that continually lies to you over and over again? And yet in the UK, the sheep, they still believe these liars. Loads of people have sent me this petition to say no to vaccines. It's do not roll out the vaccine passports. It's a petition on Parliament website, which if it gets enough signatures, it is discussed in Parliament. Now, I've seen these petitions before, and, I don't know if they ever actually get anywhere. I mean, the Houses of Parliament, bunch of crooks, as far as I'm concerned, but it already has over 100,000 signatures. And I suppose if it did get a massive amount of people signing it, it would be useful as something to point at and say, look, there's 2 million people who have signed that petition. They don't want the passport. So there is a link to the petition in the comments and description to it if the link works. I've heard that YouTube have been blocking this particular link. So if it doesn't work, you just have to go and find it. And then in other news, we see Prince, the Great Reset Child.
Realise after I finished saying that, sorry. They're talking about no jab, no food. Are you home?
No, do you know what? I'm going to show you my room, right? I don't know if it's because I won't wear a mask or what, but this is my room. Hang on, can you see? It's massive. Sorry, I'm looking a bit rough, folks.
Sorry, I explained that you were still in hospital.
Yeah, I've got me still got me drains. These lovely things I have to carry around with me, filling up with my fluids.
Bloody hell. I'm just getting the petition up for everyone, so I can put it in the comments. Sorry. It's just like a petition to stop the need for a e-vaccination status.
Where's my hand? That's it.
Got no background. There we are. Now we've got background. But yeah, it's just a video on that explaining how they're looking at bringing in a passport, like a vaccination passport, and you won't even be able to go in supermarkets, pubs, restaurants, and nothing without one.
Well, buy local, buy from your farms, and give any of the pubs that don't let you in a wide berth. That's what I say. Don't play the game.
100%.
I tell you what, right? Most of the nurses I've spoke to in here, they won't be having the vaccine.
Well, this thing, when they first started talking about the vaccine, and they said they were going to start using the NHS staff to push it, there was something that came out. I can't remember what research it was during, but it did go about, and it was floated around. The NHS, the nurses and the doctors weren't actually going to get a vaccination. They were going to get a placebo.
Right.
And it was just to build confidence in the public that the vaccine was fine.
No, well, most of them I've spoke to, they can't say anything publicly. They have to be careful what they say, but they know that it's man-made. They know that the virus, the vaccine isn't safe, and they won't. Well, the ones I've spoken to won't be having it. They've said, and even one said last night that if she had to have it for work, she'd leave her job because she wouldn't be having it.
There's a problem. We had one of our admin used to work for the NHS, and he got replaced by volunteers at the beginning of the lockdown. Well, midway through the lockdown.
Yeah.
They just goes to show that they're willing to replace everyone with volunteers.
Yeah. Well, I think, one of the girls up in the other ward, she'd moved up from Birmingham. So I don't know if she'd moved up just for the job, but yeah, there's a lot of staff off. A lot of them off with mental health problems and stuff.
Not surprising though, with the amount of stuff that they've been putting through people's heads and that.
Yeah. Well, there's doctors. I've seen one today. Did you see the Freedom of Information? I think Keith put it on his Facebook.
Yeah, he sent it to me as well.
Eh?
He sent it to me as well. Let me see if I can get it up.
Oh, the Sheffield one.
Yeah.
Yeah. 26 people in all.
Let me just save it and then I'll get it on big screen. Just don't want to pull up numbers on camera. Yeah. Alright, okay. Let me get that off the screen for a second. It is loading. It's just taking its time.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so freedom of information request further to your email dated 30th December 2020 and received by the Trust on the 31st of December 2020, requesting the following information. Under the Freedom of Information Act, I would like you to supply me with the following information for Sheffield hospitals, please. Northern General Hospital, Royal Hampshire Hospital, Sheffield Children's Hospital. How many people have died in each hospital due to COVID alone? I can see you publish all COVID deaths that include people who die of or with COVID-19 within 28 days of a test. So these could have died of other causes. I just need to know how many have died purely of COVID-19. Also, how many have died and been attributed to COVID-19 death without having been tested for COVID. Sorry, for COVID. Just response. Based on information recorded on the death certificate, there are 26 patients who sadly died with only COVID-19 recorded as cause. Northern General Hospital, 23. Royal Hampshire Hospital, 3. Sheffield Children's Hospital, Sheffield Teaching Hospitals, NHS Foundation Trust. Does not run Sheffield Children's Hospital, so does not hold these figures. 3 patients died before COVID testing. Could have been done, but sorry. 3 patients died before COVID testing could have been done, but with likely diagnosis of COVID. Please accept our sincere apologies for the delay in sending our response. This completes the Trust's response to your request, but please note your rights. If you are unhappy with the way that you have handled the request, but I'm not interested in the bottom of that, to be honest. But yeah. So that's it.
Yeah. And how many people live in the Sheffield area that access the hospitals?
That's what I mean, and that's it. That's all you get.
I think Keith put it on a post. There was so many 100,000 population, 26 deaths. So
Goes to show, though, doesn't it? Churchill says you're looking nice, by the way, over on VK.
Oh. Yeah, that is just being kind. I have got an excuse though. I got my sister-in-law bought me these pajamas just to come into hospital with.
They're nice though, I like them.
They're comfy, but my hair's really greasy.
Yeah, well, you're in hospital and you just had surgery, so that's not surprising.
I know, I can't even have a shower. But I'm going home tomorrow, hopefully.
You're definitely going home.
Yes. I'm hoping they're going to take one of these drains out, because it'd be easier to manage with just 2 in. But and I'm only on paracetamol now because the surgeon keeps telling me off because I won't have pain relief. He says you hit a brick wall, you need your pain relief. So I'm taking paracetamol. You know what I'm like? I don't like taking tablets.
I don't blame you. I'm the same. Red Pill Phil says you're a warrior, Sharon. Just watching.
Oh, thank
you. Lol. Happy Valentine's Day, all. I hope you're coming to join us soon, Phil. And happy Valentine's Day as well to everyone.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. Well, my daughter's on her way to the hospital because her and her boyfriend thought they were playing with their Nerf guns today, and he got her in the eye. So that didn't turn out so.
I'm coming to join you.
Yeah, no, not this hospital.
Oh, I hope she's all right. I hope she's well. What's your thoughts on the rolling out the e-vaccination?
Do what?
The vaccine passports.
Yeah, well, I think things will change before then. I think it's just all threats to piss everybody off. If nursing staff aren't going to have vaccine, I don't think many, But then you've got people asking, when can I have it? People like they're saying, oh, all these illegal immigrants in Heathrow Hotel getting the vaccine first. Well, bring it on. Take it if you want to take it, but you can have mine.
Apparently, my mic's quieter than normal. I don't know why. Unless I've pulled it out a bit. Oh, a minute. Let me just make sure I've not pulled it out. I have no idea if that's going to be any better or not. No idea. We had a question put in saying, if enough people sign that petition, is it guaranteed to work? I don't know. But if you don't try, you never know. No, that's the way I've got to see it. If it's worth a try. I don't like petitions, but I mean, they're always worth a try.
Well, we'll just have to have a separate community for those that those small businesses that want to carry on trading, can serve the public that don't get vaccinated, and the supermarkets can have all them with vaccines, can't they?
So TW, I think if they implement a vaccine passport, people will revolt. It's forcing people to take the seat. Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
Definitely. It's no good, is it?
No, unfortunately not. But it's where we all need to start standing up for ourselves. Learn to implement the word no.
The worrying thing is they're starting to roll it out to kids from 6 upwards. And I think they're wanting volunteers. If you volunteer your child for that vaccine, you're a fucking crazy person, honestly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing it. Not what I know now. People need to. We all need to start educating ourselves on everything. Like if something sounds dodgy or whatever, you still need to look into it. Still need to research it and find out for yourselves and make your own opinion on it. You know.
Well, if the nurses don't want it, that tells you something, doesn't it?
Aye.
Some of my family have had it already. The first lot. Because they work in health and funeral parlour and stuff, but no, not for me. I got offered it. I said no, thank you.
Yeah, I had a letter come through asking if I wanted to go in the trial. I just fucking ripped it up and put it in.
Guarantee, right? They'll open the schools up fully when they've got the vaccines that you want to give to the kids. That's when they'll open the schools up fully so that you can take them into school and get them vaccinated in there. If they're talking about coming to your workplace to vaccinate you, then they're going to do it in the schools. I won't be sending my child if that was the case.
No, that's the thing. Like we need to start relearning how to homeschool our kids, or even just getting ourselves motivated into trying new stuff, getting creative. You know, it's not all maths and English and geography. You know, you can learn a lot outside just by spending time and doing stuff and learning yourself. But learning is fun when you figure out what you want to learn about, what route you want to go down, what you want to do.
Well, yeah, and there's more interesting stuff out there to learn at home than there is what you get in the school, isn't there?
I've just signed that petition as well.
I was glad to see that there was a post on that the people out sledging in Middlesbrough area were outnumbered the police, so they couldn't do anything about it.
Well, that's the sort of thing that we need, though. Just sticking together and just being a community again. We can get through. We can all get through anything that's thrown at us as long as we stick together and we help each other. A successful one is a success for all, and that's the way we need to be treating it. We are all a family, and progress is progress. If one group can achieve something, then every group can achieve something. It's just about working together and helping each other do that. And that was what Children Matter, turned into. It's what changed Families Destroyed by the State into Children Matter.
Yeah.
We all help each other. We're all from different causes. We're all from, different lifestyles, different backgrounds, whatever. But, we're family and we want to help each other succeed. We need to help each other succeed. Otherwise, no one's going to.
Just don't make the mistakes that they made in the Second World War with the Nazis. Just Hitler got away with what he got away with because the people complied to what he wanted, and they believed all the propaganda and they turned on each other.
All right, TW's put another comment in which I do want to say something about as well. Said they're saying that even if you have the vaccine, you still can't meet up. You can still get COVID and still spread it. What's the point of the vax? So the other thing they said as well is that you've got to have the vax once a year. This is their wording, right? And everyone's probably going to click onto this as soon as I say it, but this was their wording. You've got to have the vaccine every year. And after you've had the vaccine, you're not allowed to procreate for 12 months. Is it me? Or is both 1 year and 12 months the exact same time frame? So you've got to have the vaccine yearly, and you're not allowed to have children within that year when there's anyone going to be able to have kids. And then
my daughter said
twisted wording to get around it, just by changing the wording slightly, so that people don't immediately turn around and go, "Hang on a minute, it's the same." Because they're not putting it in. They're not putting it in the same sentence. They're putting it in the same paragraph, in the same statement, but they're not putting it side by side with each other, so people don't automatically click to it half the time with, "Hang on a minute." Especially not the younger generation, and that's the generation we need to worry about.
And is this one that they're going to give the kids, that'll probably make them infertile anyway.
Aye.
And what's the point of having a vaccine if it doesn't change anything? Like you still can get the new variant. You can still can't mix. You still need to wear a mask. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They tried putting them when I came round after theatre. They tried to put a mask on me. I said, "You can't put that on me. I don't wear them." So she left it on the bed. She just said, "Oh, you can have the oxygen instead." So she just put the oxygen in. But I don't know if that's why they put me in here. Big old room on my own.
Well, at least you've got your space and you're not being overcrowded or being told to stick a nappy on your face.
I know, yeah. No. The nurse that was in last night, she said she'd just had coronavirus. She said, you get over it mostly. But it's. I mean, they've said now, haven't they, that people with learning disabilities, and they're not. They put them on end of life if they're getting COVID. It's just the depopulation plan. They get rid of the elderly, get rid of the what they consider the useless feeders, isn't it?
Yeah.
The elderly and infirm, those that the state has to kind of, the nanny state encouraged at one point to rely on, and then get rid of them all.
Well, there's things like maybe we're saying the word depopulation. It's come up a couple of times. Well, it is depopulation, and what better way to do it than make people too terrified to procreate? Unless it's going for at the same time. Does Phil not come in and joining us? I know he said he was multitasking, but
kids don't see that there's a future anymore. That's the problem. They're looking at it now and thinking, "What's the point? Can't do anything. They've taken everything away."
so we need to stand together as much as possible, especially now, because I mean, this is completely different to any other issue or war or anything that's happened, because now it's the state against the people. I know there's been times like this in the past, but that's where we hit the dilemma. They've learned from the past, obviously. This isn't something that they've gone, right, we can do this and within 5 years we'll get it done. No, this was a case of, even if it's not in my lifetime, the state's going to control this sort of thing. This was an agenda, an idea that people shared. Like forced adoption alone has been going on since 1934. I mean, we're into 2021 now. That's gone far too long. But there's always been an agenda behind it, and it's took years to figure out what the agenda is. And when people probably have done in the past, they've been taken out of the equation, like Carol Woods, when she was put in a mental health institution. I mean, we always say we learn from our mistakes, but so do they.
I think people are, like you said, one of the nurses, she was saying she'd been looking into all the forced adoption stuff as well. She'd come across that and all the groups against social services, and she said, "I had to stop reading the stories. It was heartbreaking." She said, "All these families getting torn apart." She said, "One after another, and she said, "It's just never ending. These poor kids getting taken out of the families. It's like we said the other night. They don't get any help."
They don't. And
I know there's some young parents out there, but there's a reason for that, and education is the key to it. But they don't offer that.
No, they don't. But it's their agenda, doesn't it? A million things at once.
And where are they getting all these foster carers from? If all these parents are losing the kids, where, it's there's more kids with getting put in foster placements now than there are anything else.
And we've seen what it's like. We've had 2 people turn up to us when we've done demos down here at Town Hall. We've had 2 teenagers turn up to us at different times, one in July and one in September, 115, 116. Got fucking locust by my head again.
When are they?
Yay, Phil's in the background. Are you coming on, Phil? I will automatically click you on just in case.
When are they going to be held responsible? All these councils going to be held responsible for all these kids in care over the last 30 years that have been getting raped and groomed and put at risk? Somebody needs to be held accountable.
It's just more profit for them. Hi, Phil.
Hello, ladies. How we doing?
Oh, not too bad. How are you?
Really?
Fine. How are you, Sharon?
I'm not so bad. I've asked for some paracetamol, but she might come in a minute.
Oh, this is as much as it's a negative in so many ways, the way you were explaining how you got your room. Look at that. You've got a massive room to yourself. If you probably agreed to wearing a mask, you might have just been shunted in some ward with racked and stacked with everyone else. So there's probably benefits somewhere down the line. Is that a TV in the background?
Yeah, and I don't even have to pay for it. But I don't watch TV, so it's not even been on. The nurses were like, "Are you not watching telly?" I said, "No, I don't watch it."
Yeah.
I just keep my book.
Last thing you need is a propaganda box beaming at you while you're still trying to get your head together.
I know. I've got my daughter got me some. She got me a one of those colouring books with swearing in it. It's got a message on the front with big. So the doctor come in earlier, and it's I can't remember what page I was on, but I'm glad it wasn't the page with the C word on.
Jesus. And to answer that question, yeah, I haven't got my makeup on. I've not combed my hair. That's what it is. My hair's all over the place. I'm just in and out. It's been a mad weekend, quite a busy weekend, and I'm actually uploading and editing while all this is going on. But I just wanted to touch base with you guys because you're doing a brilliant show and the talking point as well, informing people of that. Well done, Katie.
I feel like I'm not spending as much time on it because I'm constantly fucking jumping between all the other channels.
Well, to be fair, I mean, let's look at it this way. For us all to suddenly turn into this realm where you have an obligation to inform people as what's going on. There's so many different dimensions and directions to what's going on in its nefarious states and different degrees and how people interpret it and the fight against it, that any one person is so swamped with information and try to get it out in a safe place to people in a safe way where they ain't going to overreact and probably counteract the old reason why you're doing it in the first place. It's a mad time we're in, ladies. It's mad. So I can understand if I'm not making a video, I'm thinking about a video. If I'm not thinking about a video, I'm working. If I'm not working, then there's so many things that we all have to do, and you're doing a fantastic job, and it's hard because there's so much out there at the moment, and it's hard to decipher conspiracy. It's hard to not spontaneously get outraged until you totally know what place you're at. You know what I mean? Because it's dangerous ground. It is dangerous. You want to shout for freedom and invite people to look at that. But at the same time, you've got to do it right. We've got to do it right because there's so many people before us that have tried and failed, aren't there? So well done. Anyway, I'm probably rambling too much, but yeah, well done.
On your channel, you're allowed to.
No, well, you're in the predicament that you're in, Kate, and I was only more than glad for you to use this channel. This is what this channel's for. It's a conduit, you know what I mean? And you've done the same for me, and you've allowed me to use StreamYard, which has enhanced what I'm doing. So it's brilliant. We're all working together. But the talking point, I didn't actually know about the talking point that you were talking about. I did know that we're alluding to it. We did know about digital passports. They've been able to not bring up the talking point, or at least suppress people's concern about the end game in terms of the digital passport. And whilst doing that, they're rolling out the vaccine and getting more and more people under the vaccine, whilst slowly now letting you know that the ultimate intention is to get every mofo in on this land vaccinated, and then they'll roll out the contingencies to stop people having a freedom to not have a vaccination. Like you say, make life so hard. And the ultimate fear is, for the average individual that sees that, is straight away you're thinking Hunger Games.
Yeah.
The two-tier system where the person that isn't having the vaccine isn't allowed the privileges in life. And you think of that on a basic level, never mind the argument on what's been brought in, just on a premise. And think of the relationships that's going to divide. Think of the anxiety. I mean, I was in a shop yesterday. I could not believe it. Sorry, guys, I'm rambling, but went to the shop to get some fags. There was two guys talking, and they were talking quite passionately, but friendly and agreeing on the same point. One was talking about the amount of jobs that his friends around him have lost over this that's going on. And the other one then interjected about the amount of suicides in our area that has transpired through this. So it's just off the scale with everyone in so many different ways. So yeah, there you go. I'm not going to take up the show too much. Let you ladies speak.
It's true. It's all true.
Well, before Christmas, a couple of months before Christmas, I was talked to a girl in one of the shops in Middlesbrough, and she was saying that she didn't know anybody that had COVID, but quite a few of her friends had committed suicide, and that was, I think, October time. You know, so
comment put in over on YouTube from Kenneth as well, saying that there's another suicide in Clifton, York. So I mean, like, if we're not losing people to COVID, we're losing people to this mental strain that this is all put on everyone.
It'll compound everything. An average frivolous argument over something totally unrelated will have a degree of something to do with this, because it's compounding in the mind. You know what I mean? I don't want to bring it too low, but I was telling you about a story, Katie, in Pennsylvania that had transpired. And it's a story of three people, a couple and a neighbor. So they live adjacent to one another. The couple apparently had long-standing feuds with the neighbor across the street, and I don't know how it happened, but it transpired that one incident where the couple, they'd had a excessive amount of snowfall, so they were shoveling the snow, but it may have turned out that they were putting their dump snow into this other person's grounds. So this other person approached these guys and they just basically verbally abused him. It's all on camera. I've seen the whole thing. Ultimately, to cut a long story short, all three of them lost their lives. All three of them. The single individual thought, right, I'm not having you two doing this to me. He went over, shot him with the small arms, then went back to his house, returned with an AR-15 and finished them off. Then went to his house, and the police then went to apprehend him and found that he'd committed suicide in his own house. Now, I'm not saying that's a direct result of COVID, but with the stressful anxiety and of what everyone's feeling right now, small things can just blow up. Now, I was talking about this with one of the ladies I often speak to, and we both agreed that if one of them would have just took a breath for 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Just walked away, just composed himself, and it wouldn't have happened.
Saved him.
So this is where you get your suicides. This is where you get your anxiety. This is where you get probably more criminality. people exploiting one another now because they'll find themselves in a situation where, well, I'm fitter than you, I've got more intellect than you, I'm going to take from you rather than help you. You know, everyone's got a certain mindset and a conundrum that they're facing now in these times, and it's what way you want to go with it, really. You know what I mean? Do you give? Do you take? It's crazy. It depends where you want to go. Like you say, this is such a minefield now of where it puts everyone. If you're not ultimately thinking about this, then are you truly alive?
Well, my grandson, who's only 8, my daughter said, even going into town into the shops, because he's a little empath, he picks up everybody's energy, and I think the energy around is too much for him. He's getting anxious. He's getting stressed just standing in a shop, you know, just because everyone's stood around obviously wearing masks and things, and everyone's stressed, and everyone's
as well, that for a kid, because we're taught as a kid that bad people, villains, burglars all wear masks, and all of a sudden they're surrounded by these giants that are all covered up, all hiding the face, all masked up, and a lot of these masks are black as well, which isn't going to feed into a kid's imagination at all in the slightest. Like, kids' imaginations run wild. And I remember not being able to control the sort of imaginations I had. I saw every car I saw, as a kid up until I was a teenager, was a face. In front of every car, I saw a face. I still do. That sticks with me because that was the sort of imagination that I had as a kid. Yeah, some people end up like imagining like monsters in the closet or under the bed, or become scared of the dark, and they still have those things as an adult as well, even if they do handle it a bit differently.
And people are getting away with crimes because, you might get a video of somebody committing a crime, but they've got a mask on. What chance have you got of identifying them?
You know what, Sharon, it's funny because you can only go off your own experiences in it. And as much as this is almost on the verge of you could take Valium over what's going on right now, you've got to keep yourself up. And in a way, you've got to see the funny and lighter side of it. And it's mad. And I don't mean that as if to say to diminish what people are feeling. But you've got to rise yourself. We were out shopping over the weekend and we went to a lovely farmhouse in Delft, which is just through Oldham. And it's lovely and snowy up there still, risen. Beautiful elevated point. Lovely farmyard with lovely organic food, and you were tapping into that before about the supermarkets, and now you have a conscious decision on where you want to spend your money. Now they're going to start implementing these rules because you know who's going to ultimately fall in place and who won't, and it'll be the big conglomerate firms that will do. On the way back, we were just like you do, you're seeing people on the street with masks and whatnot. There was this young lad and he had this snorkel, the old-fashioned snorkel where the hood really comes right out, where they were almost a danger back in the day because it was almost like a trombone horn that come out, and it was like that stark. He had it, and he had a mask on of some kind, a face covering. All I could see was black when you looked into the little hole of the hood. And I actually turned to the wife and I said, you know what that makes me think of? When you used to watch It's a Knockout and you used to get the person with the disguise on, with the bodysuit, the bodysuit was clearly higher and taller than the individual. So the individual would be looking through, say, the chest part of the actual body, and the head was way above. It looked like that. It looked like the person was probably 2-3 feet high, but with the hood, it looked surreal because you couldn't see a face. You didn't know what was behind it. And even with people wearing masks now, I mean, they're starting to reinvent masks that are just covering more and more of the face. You're losing so much emotion. You're losing so much expression. You're losing joy. You're losing fear. People cannot read people with a mask on. And not only that, you look 8 times out of 10. I've not got a clipboard to this, but 8 times out of 10, everyone do this now when they're going to work, they're going about the business. You look into the eyes without being confrontational, but try and look into the eyes of people walking wearing the masks and try and read what's going on in the mind. The eyes are a window to the soul, and it looks like they're on the verge of depression just walking down the street. They don't look comfortable, they don't look happy, and it's the most awful thing to watch humanity go through this.
Well, when you're not wearing a mask as well, and you look into their eyes, they're usually looking at you like either you're the enemy, you've just committed murder, or puzzled that you dare come out without one. You know, it's that. But I don't go to supermarkets much.
Speaking about coming out without a mask, this popped up on my feed. I think it was earlier today. I'm not going to show all of it, but I'm going to try and show the key points in it. Obviously, some of it was going on before we actually press play, which he goes into, which I'm going to kind of skip forward. And I'm going to put his channel name as well on the screen so everyone can go over and subscribe to him. So, yeah, this was put up. It's, assaulted by Asda staff, bullying and abusing customers while being filled. Please show up. Basically, gist of it, he went in, tried to, he said he was exempt. I think his missus or his friend went in just before and also without a mask, and he allowed them to go through. And he stopped this guy, more than likely because he's got tattoos. And he also goes and stops another guy as soon as he gets this one out, again, not for wearing a mask, and puts bands on them and everything. But this is what we're risking. And obviously, this is Asda. And Asda are apparently getting really, really bad for it. But anyway, I'll shut up and play it.
Face. 2 metres away, okay? Fine. Move your hand. You've got a plaster as well. That's manky. Oh, yeah. What's your details? Yeah, Brockway. Can't hear you. Brockway, you heard it. Brock what? Brockway. Keep back. What's your 2 metres away. Put your hand, put your hand away from me. Keep away. Don't touch my phone. I will floor you. Don't touch my phone. I will floor you. I will floor you. Keep away. You're going to do this in front of my son? Keep away. Serious. Thank you. I'm sorry? Can you call the police? Can you please call the police? Can you call the police? What's your name? Tim. Tim. What's your name? How did I threaten him? He touched my phone. It's on camera. Call the police. Keep away from me, okay? Can you call the police? Can you call the police? So I'm going to have to call the police? Yeah, you call the police. Are you serious? Yes, that's it. Because of this? You're within 2 meters. When the other lady in front of me... You're within 2 meters of her. I'm back. You move back. He's back this is the entrance. Look, I'm in the middle of. Look at that arrow on the floor. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, this is where I'm walking. What's the problem? You threatened to assault a colleague. You're not welcome. Because he's touching my camera. He's not touching your camera. He's asking. You wasn't here at the time. I was watching. Keep it back. You wasn't here. I was watching from just there. You keep saying keep back, but this is the entrance. Are you doing this in front of my son? Huh? Are you serious? You're the one making the scene. Are you serious? What are you saying? Making a scene? I come to do my shopping with my son, and there was a lady in front of me. You can't refuse me by law. Call the police. Call the police. Call the police. No. It's got public access. It's public access. It is public access. It is public access. Don't touch the trolley. Don't touch the trolley. This is your trolley, sir. Sorry? I've touched it. I don't want his hands on it. He's not got gloves on. Leave it with you, sir. Exactly. That's my point. So I've touched it. I've washed it. I've watched it. When are you going to have to call the police? Because I'm refusing to leave from here because you haven't actually physically asked me to leave here. I would like you to leave. And you can't based on the grounds of a disability. No, I'm not doing it based on disability. I'm doing it based on the fact that you threatened to assault the colleague. No, I haven't. You have. No, I haven't. You threatened to floor him. No. I threatened to floor him if he attacked me. Can you step away from me? No. You just said 2 meters on camera. Yeah. He threatened to attack me. Yeah. No, are you serious? Him, yeah. Because he threatened to attack me. I'm allowed to defend myself. I can defend myself. No, he was asking for distance. Again, you're in my space. Move out my space. No, it's your responsibility. You're asking me to move back. You're asking me to move back. And you're in my space. Can you call the police? Call the police, please. Where would you like me to wait? Outside. So which is your property? Outside that there. I'm not talking to you. Back out of my space. Yeah. Just outside the door, please, sir. Just there. Yep. Outside. You want me to still stand on your property? Do not touch my son.
didn't threaten to touch us.
No, he put his hand out. Do not touch my son. You're not wearing gloves.
No. Outside this door, just please.
So another door. Another door.
That's it, yeah.
Stay close, Thomas. Stay close, mate. Stay close.
We need to allow 2 minutes for customers to come in, sir.
Sorry?
We need to allow 2 minutes for customers.
Stop talking to me.
It is 2 meters.
Stop talking to me. I can't hear you. You're mumbling away.
Because I'm wearing a mask. I'm following a mask.
So is this your property?
That's not our property.
So I'm allowed to stand here?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Feel free, sir.
Great. I'm not talking to you. Go away.
You just
Go away.
To me, sir. Who are you?
Go away.
Go away. We're going to call the police.
Mate, he won't let me in. He won't let me in. He won't let me in.
He's a wanker.
He is a wanker. He won't let me in. Are you going to let this? Are you going to refuse this gentleman? I'm waiting for the police, bud.
Yeah, I'll wait for this.
Yeah, he won't let me in.
Yeah, I'll wait for this.
You got a little man as well. Look at this. He won't let me in. So you've had experience with him.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of 2 people being refused, both with kids. They did wait around a while.
And it's interesting what the kids are saying,
All
particularly
right.
the first chat.
Shopping. We've got lanyards on, but he was really aggressive, and he basically pushed my son out the door.
What do you say, Phil?
Started saying that we're.
No, I was just saying it's what's a shame is we're conditioning the kid now. Obviously, just wants to live and just going about the normal everyday duties with the dad, but the dad's having so much confrontation with this. And I must say the dad didn't help by saying I'll floor you, or if you know what I mean. That language is never going to work. You've got to be more intellectual than that if you're going to stand your ground. And we've all
frustration though, because what obviously I skipped to the beginning, his explanation of it. He was actually assaulted by the guy, and the guy actually peeled his little boy's fingers off the troller.
Right.
So I mean,
I get it.
I'd have been absolutely raging, and I'd have probably threatened to knock the fucker out, let alone floor him.
I know, but then when the police come, all he has to say is he's just threatened me and he said he'll floor me. Then that takes some of the ammunition away from him, doesn't it? And it's a psychological thing. It's unfortunate because we're frustrated. And let's face it, I mean, we all feel that mad that you just want to bang people out for acting like this and doing very unhumane things to you while you've got your children just wanting to get your basic necessities. But we ultimately can't do that. I can't understand the psychology of someone wanting to fall into this and stop people doing this. But what really got me there is the child. He's becoming a little bit of a fighter because he can see that what his dad is having to go through is wrong. Now,
you actually hear a lot off the kid as well. You'll hear how frustrated and angry the kid is. Obviously, he was talking during the bit I've skipped out as well, but he is adamant to 2 of the police officers at different times that he wants to have his say as well. And he said about how the guy grabbed his hand and he was asked to do it, and it's naughty, and he just wanted to go shopping. And you hear that from the little kid.
It's innocence. And that kid's going to grow up. That's his world now. When we all speak of things that we remember when we're 5, 6, and they become a little bit vague, but you never quite forget them. This is the new brave world for the children that are going to have to see this on either side. Some kids will be brainwashed into thinking that wearing a mask is the best thing to do. So if you don't do it, so
screaming their heads off at taking the masks off.
It's mad. And you're going to get pupils arguing against pupils, and even one of them are probably not intellectual enough to win the argument anyway. But there's a simple argument with this. We're losing our humanity very quickly, and people are quite agreeable and not realizing the sociological and psychological consequences of doing this for any period of time. What it's doing already.
TW
Anyway.
side needs to turn soon before it's too late, and I fully agree. And when I was watching this morning, one thing that caught my attention was a couple of things, but same conclusion. They were asking the guy for his name, and he gave him the first name and not the last name, which is smart because it shows cooperation, but it doesn't show stupidity at the same time. But they went in to speak to the guy who made the threats. The guy who was you're trying to take the phone, and removed him from the shop. And came back out and said to the other guy that he can go back in, but he can't give him any details. They don't have the power to give him any details. Then they went back to this guy filming and tried politely persuading him to give over his details to them. The police can then go and give the details to him for him to ban him, because he had nothing to actually ban him on, no name, no identity, no nothing to actually put a proper ban order in place. Because as he points out to the police officers, he could have quite easily gone to his car, put a new hoodie on, put a mask on, and what would they have done?
This is where you end up following this. You end up chasing your tail, because there's so many ways people can mitigate this and work around it. The human being is got ingenuity written all over it, and will always come up with working around a problem when a problem's created. And so they're never going to be able to solve this, because someone who truly doesn't agree with it will always mitigate it. I mean, let's have it this way. On the odd occasion that we've had to do supermarket shopping, this bullshit rule about one individual only be able to go shopping, are you having a laugh?
I've noticed something, because obviously I speak to a lot of different campaigners from all over the country and whatnot, and a lot of people have had issues at some point or the other with being confronted about not wearing a mask. Not like being asked, "Do you got a mask?" No, right, okay, but actually being full on confronted. I've never at any point been confronted. I've been on trains, I've been on buses, I've been on coaches, I've been out, in supermarket shopping and whatnot, and I've not had that confrontation. To be fair, it's winter, so I'm covered up so you can't see my tattoo, so I've got a feeling that'll play a big part in why I've not had too much confrontation as of yet. But a lot of people I'm seeing that are getting confrontation are elderly people, single parents with their children, and men. They're being targeted with the masks in stores and everything. Like we've been seeing on protests, we've been seeing the elderly and women are being the ones being targeted. They're coming after all of us, but they're coming after us in different ways, and I think it might be to try and distract us.
Well, it's demonisation, isn't it, Katie? We're going through that. Let me just see if I can pull up a little something here. Slightly off topic, but it's kind of not. It didn't surprise me, but I'm flabbergasted. And someone mentioned about 1984 as well. This is what I was reading earlier today. Now, people can...
I was just reading Tracy's comment there. Welcome to 1984.
And people can talk about the news outlet and all the rest of it. And a story is a story. And former FBI assistant director, large-scale program needed to de-radicalize Trump political cult members. So ultimately, what they're basically saying now, they're trying to give the green light that if you don't go for this progressive new elite world, then ultimately they're going to give the green light for re-education. There's something wrong with you because you are radicalized and you're probably going to turn into, if you're not already, a domestic terrorist. So then if you scratch it right back to people who don't want to wear masks, people who don't want to vote for Brexit, this is all one and the same thing. This is ultimately anyone who's anti-narrative driven will be deemed as a dissident stroke domestic terrorist moving forward. They're already using language that is demonizing people. You can't have any thoughts of humanity and what it's doing in terms of depression and just on a conditioning level what all this is doing. The raggedy-headed Muppet never seems to bring that point up. He just seems to want to drum it into people's heads how they need to do it more and more. And us on a normal level look at maybe how this was implemented in the first place, as opposed to whether there's an agenda or not behind it. The bottom line is you're looking at other countries now that are buzzing. They're rolling out of it, whether it's down to the way they've handled it or whatever it is. We seem to be in a state that other countries are not in. And it's almost like saying, people are saying, well, we're in that state because of the way we've done it and because of you not wearing a mask. And it's like, Don't blame me for this situation. Don't blame Katie for this situation.
It wouldn't have made a difference. It either would have sped up what was already going to happen, or it would have postponed what was going to happen. That's the only realistically possibilities to what wearing a mask could or couldn't do. And either way doesn't solve what the actual problem is, because if it worked for the mask, they'd find a different alternative and go a different route to find what it is to break everyone down and to turn everyone against each other. They already tried race clearly hasn't worked as well as you were expecting it to.
You know, same again, I can't remember the chap's name, but there's a microbiologist of Asian descent, but I'm sure he lives in Germany. He's stuck his head up and he's been researching viruses and whatnot for years. And the basic point that he brings up, and I love it when people can just simplify, because that's the thing with this. This is so technical that people are bamboozled by jargon, death by PowerPoint. And the way he simplified it was wicked. Just on what he was basically saying is a virus has to be have different effects in different countries just on the temperature variations that you get in different countries. But yet what you're seeing with this is a global rollout of ultimately the same effects in every country, regardless of the temperature. So what he's saying is somewhere in the polar ice caps, if the virus was released, would have a different signature and the way it rolls out as to somewhere in the Gobi Desert or other maybe more milder climates. But we're not seeing
that. Sounds like to me though.
What's that?
Something that every country across across the world has always had. Common cold.
Different variations. Yeah.
I've lived in a few different countries and I've travelled the world, and one thing every country has in common, especially with illnesses and how it attacks everything, is the cold. It's the flu, pneumonia. That's all different names for different levels of a cold. You've got the common cold, which is quite easy after a day or two, you're feeling better again. You've got the flu, which lasts for about a week or two. And then you've got pneumonia, which is a lot harsher. It's just like 3 different evolutions of the same thing.
Totally. Can I say something, though? How prevalent is a cold in a severely hot country as opposed to how prevalent is a cold in a wetter, damper, moister, colder country?
It's still
I don't know. I'm not, a statistician should be able to tell you that, shouldn't they, really? But shouldn't that be basis to this argument as well?
But realistically, there's 2 main occasions where people come down with the cold: when summer hits and when winter hits. So,
how many colds do you get when you've been basking in the sun in Spain or in the, New York? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, of course. When
every time today.
When you can do it being on the lash, you could probably have too much, feel rough. And then a cold can hit when you're feeling at your lowest point. We all know that. We've had it. Something else has tagged along when you're feeling like shit. But ultimately, in hot countries, are you less likely or just as likely or what to get a cold? So if we're talking corona, does corona not work like that?
Well, it seems to. Look at when it hit. It hit at flu season. Then it disappeared. And then it came back at flu season. You've got 2 flu seasons in a year. I get a cold twice a year, every year without fail. I always have done, and that's when summer hits and when winter hits. And the people around me tend to get a cold first and pass it on, and then I'm somewhere down the chain of when it gets passed on. But even a slight temperature variant can cause flu-like symptoms. It just goes to show. But it was always a bit weird to me, since the beginning, how it was all of a sudden that, a bit weird how it's flu season, yet all of a sudden, corona's going to get worse and there's another spike in it. People die from the flu and from the cold every year. because it's a different strain every year, and our bodies can't exactly tolerate the same thing at the same time whenever we get it, because we have to be constantly healthy and bubble wrap ourselves entirely, like not even leaving the house to be able to get a cold or a flu. But as soon as you stepped out, you'd get a cold again.
Mm. So you've got to allow yourself to have some form of herd immunity. You can't live in fear.
No.
And they're training you to live in fear. They're training you to mitigate every part of your life. And you can't be a human being. What you're taking away by doing this. And this Graham Davis, it's a funny point, but it's relevant. I think a deep fried Mars bar will kill me faster than bat soup. And to be fair, look at it. They'll pump shite at you all day long from every orifice, from kebabs to fast food to just eat, with gang signs all over the place. You've got no problem with that. You know what I mean? But yeah, something that the average person, if they are fit and healthy and look after themselves, why have they now got to live a life of mitigation on what a small amount of the population may get? So this Graham may not choose sweet deep fried Mars bars, and he knows that, Scotland, I'm sure the mortality rate was a bit crazy because it was said because of the lifestyle. Now, that is something that is deemed a more north-south thing, and we could all argue that, and there's so many debates you could have on that, but there's an element of truth in that. Your lifestyle does befit how long you're going to bleeding live. So are they not going to have a problem with people having a lifestyle like that? That's probably...
It makes their jobs easier, doesn't it? If it's about depopulation in every means necessary, then that's one of the means. I mean, think about the amount of people who have not been able to go to the gym or go swimming or do their hobbies or even get outside. Like I know the getting outside part, because my anxiety is fucking horrible, where I've at least got to have someone on the phone with me. But then I'm going to be out and back as fast as possible, because I know they're not always going to be on the phone, and my phone could die. And if it dies when I'm out, then my anxiety is going to take the better of me. But when I was going to demos, when you can meet up with people, I could go out for the day, and I know when I was ready to go home, I could just go home, and that was it.
But hey ho. So listen, changing the subject slightly, how's your day been? I know you've probably been rushing around trying to get this stream sorted, but have you had a good day generally?
It's not been too bad. The fish tank's a fish tank. I need to stop calling it a fish tank. It's not going to be a fish tank when I'm done with it. Oh, and I've just noticed that Taco's just woke up as well.
The what, sorry?
My tarantula's just woke up. She's not moved all day, and I've just looked up and she's moved.
Can she hear my voice? She said, like, what? Right, I've heard about this geezer. Yeah. All of a sudden,
when she's in this sort of position, I fucking love it, because you can see like pretty much the genuine size of her, and you can actually see the beauty in her as well because of it. Do you have a nose there?
It's funny how you say the word beauty with something that can quite easily stick two freaking fangs in you and literally suck the bejesus out of you. I love the way you put beauty to that.
It's just like a bee sting.
Listen, I've had one bee sting in my life, and that wasn't fun.
Me too. I got it in the finger because a bee landed in my hair. And I do what I always do, where I've got my hair down, and I went like that and put my hair up by quite in the back of the finger, because it was just rested on my hair.
It's not fun, is it? It got me in bed. I mean, ultimately, that's the last chance saloon for a bee, isn't it? You know what I mean? A bee don't want to do it, because it's game over once it's done it.
I don't think the bee I got meant to fucking do it. I don't think the bee I got even realised that was happening, because when I pulled my finger back down, I had the back end of the bee stuck in my finger. It wasn't just the sting.
What the? Ew.
I pulled literally the bee's ass off.
Oh my god!
I've got to show you why she's like this. Hopefully you'll see, because she gets that part of the room. Oh, there, right at the back. We'll turn this off. You see her?
Yeah, I think so. So.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Have you got any other insects hopping around the place, or have you managed to get a flute out and get them all together?
No, they're still in there. Got one right there. There was one right next to my head before. I think it's hooked off now. I think that's the one that's. I've got videos of Taco running away from her food.
Running away from her food?
Genuinely, like she was running away from it. I've got a video and you can literally just see her skitzing out, like, get me the fuck away.
Is your spider suffering from anxiety from COVID-19, Katie? Because it's traits, it's personality traits that don't seem to be in line with a deadly freaking spider.
Nah, she's. I think it's her intentions, right? Because if she doesn't eat, I've got a hand feeder.
Right. So is she becoming dependent then?
I've never hand fed her, so I'm hoping not. But if she doesn't eat, that means I am going to have to hand feed her.
That sounds slick. That it sounds like, right, I'm going to make Katie think that I'm dead approachable, and then all of a sudden she's going to shove her hand in the tank and then booyaka shot.
Exactly. The other thing is I've got like holding like I don't like bugs. I'm scared of bugs. I'll happily admit that. I am petrified of bugs.
They're not my best mate. But anyway, let's just go back to the comments a little. I just wanted to mention to anyone who's just jumped on, I guess, happy Valentine's Day. Regardless of what's going on, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you've been able to spend the weekend and doing the essential thing. And I probably need to do more of it and probably spent too much time with my headphones on this weekend. But yeah, I hope everyone's managing to spend that bit of time with your loved one and just remember what's important in your life, I guess. So, and I hope it's not cost you too much money in order to get them kudos points and them brownie points, you know, because there's a few stories I could tell, but I think I better not.
Oh, I've got my best mate something for Valentine's Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't say though till she's got it because she'll watch the channel and she'll find out.
Yeah, you can't. Don't spoil any surprises. That's right.
I'm trying to wind a boyfriend up because her boyfriend's like, yeah, she doesn't think he's got her something like that she wants or likes. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to put him to shame and I'm going to do it.
Oh, men, it's a challenge for men, Valentine's, because men are a different species to women.
I gave him a list of ideas to help him.
Honestly, you know what's weird? And I'm seeing it more and more, and I might be wrong because there are some passionate, really sensitive, giving males that do have that sense of romance. But I'm talking the average individual here. And from what I can see, particularly with myself and people around me, men are different. Women have placed this Valentine's Day as an opportunity for men to take control and show the romantic side towards the woman. But in every case that I see, the woman has got more influence on how they want their Valentine's Day to go. And are probably putting more effort in, it has to be said, in terms of getting the food and whatnot, which is only leaving minimal duties for men, i.e. bunch of flowers. Well, yeah, I guess it's not going to change. It just seems weird. I mean, I'm pretty lazy when it comes to showing my other half that, and I don't do enough. And she's always sarcastic that I never get enough flowers and whatnot. So I'll probably
settle for a trip to McDonald's, mate.
Easily pleased.
That's pretty much what it is. Like, me and Zach were together. We were going to go out on a date, and I got to choose where I wanted to go, and I chose Mackey's. Oh, we ate in the car too.
Not like a bit of GMO there, Katie. You know what I mean? You're not setting a good example there, are you?
I have anxiety. Like, I wasn't interested in going to it. Like, he wanted to go to a fancy restaurant and now I'm just sat there like, I'm covered in tattoos. I have a shaved head and I have purple hair. And you think I'm going to feel comfortable in a fancy restaurant?
Why not? Why not? You go in there, you hold your chin up and you go, so what? I've got... You know how many times, right, growing up, I'd walk into a place and I'd be the only person of colour in there. And you know how intimidating that used to feel over the years? Just because I put myself in that spot, I ultimately felt I didn't belong at some times. And now I think, seriously, I don't even let it enter my head. So there'll be times that in my periphery I can see someone maybe looking or whatever, and maybe years gone past, I'd be like, I'd be either feeling intimidated or wanting to go the other way, as in not a confrontational look.
Now,
No, just be comfortable. Go in there, bowl it with your purple hair, and go. And what? And you know what?
Yeah.
Look at this tarantula on my neck. Can I have
I'm
a steak?
there now, but I wasn't quite at that point when I was with him.
Yes, no, I get that. I get
that.
that.
The thing is, I forgot who I was after I lost the kids, and that was my first relationship after losing the kids. So it was I still hadn't found my own feet after losing the kids. So yeah, I had to kind of find out who the fuck I am again and work from that.
Don't we all, Katie? You know what I mean? And let's face it, you're doing it on your journey in life as well as the helping with your journalism.
TK Media has got a very good point. He said that I got myself the gift of keeping my money by staying single.
I mean, that will work. It does save a few quid.
Been working for me, to be honest. It's means that broke up.
I know. You know what I will say though? What will be mad here, it's not something I can relate to because I'm not in the situation. I've been with the same partner for so many years. We've been married all in the same house. There'll be plenty of partners that won't be together now. As in, they'll be together, but ultimately they might be in separate bubbles. Ultimately, one might be living in one district, one in the other part of the country, or even worse, one in separate part of the country. And the way they've been able to communicate over these months is literally Zoom or whatever, phone and the usual stuff.
The other problem is a lot of couples haven't had that break from each other where, a few of us have, carried on as we always do, still got that break from each other when one of us was working or both of us were working, or when we go out with our mates or whatever, we can get a babysitter for our kids. A lot of people haven't had that in over a year now. And I know what it's like to be constantly confined with someone, especially someone you love. I did it with my cousin, and me and Zach fell through the same issue as well, where we ended up at each other's throats because we were constantly around each other. And even though because we loved each other, we'd bottle it up because we knew it was just our frustrations and just everything, from being constantly confined with each other. But when that lid bursts, all of it comes back out again, and it can be brutal. It can be a very harsh thing because even the smallest insecurities can get magnified massively after being bottled up for so long.
Totally. Well, going back to that story in, was it Pennsylvania? You know what I mean? It's people in it. The smallest things can become so over amplified. And we've seen that. I mean, a Brexit vote can become where people will want someone dead because they voted for Brexit. And similarly, someone has then gone because you think on a far left agenda, you could do with being wiped off. And it is crazy the starkness and where your position's at. So even on a relationship level, I totally get you. The cabin fever and issues on working with relationships on how to contain, you know what I mean? And how to stop frivolous things just turning from where you ultimately start to create little cracks in relationships where, you know what, I don't really feel that comfortable talking about this because this will happen or that. It is a constant battle, and it's something I constantly work at as well, Katie. So it's a massive point that you bring up there. And we're all having to deal with that on top of what you're seeing outside your doors with your family friends and with your family friends' interactions with you as well. Bloody crazy.
So I would say about the frustration levels a couple of weeks ago when we were talking with Zach from Tiara, was that the frustration levels are boiling up, and it's bound to happen. It's not just human nature; it's living nature. Anything that's confined with others of its own or different, they are going to attack each other. Whether that's human life, animal life, plant life. We've seen it with chickens. If you put too many chickens in a small confined space, they end up taking it out on each other, killing each other, brutalizing each other. It's the same
Well,
with dogs. Same
it's
with
true.
cats.
Look,
It's
you
the
know,
same
you know what? You bring up a brilliant point. Brilliant point. Look at it like this. You've got your cockfighting, you've got dog fighting, you've got UFC. Isn't it funny that all them attributes are through conditioning and training of battling another individual, another chicken, another dog? A cock ain't going to do that to another cock unless it's been conditioned and trained violently to literally go for that other cock. Just like the fighting dogs, we've all seen films, we've all seen clips on how they train them and what it's all about, and how they ultimately change the mindset of that. You know, it's just like UFC. As much as people will go, well, Phil, this is human based now, there's a lot of discipline. Yeah, there is. But you're still training someone to ultimately, when they get in that ring, to pummel 10 bags of shit out of them. And that is
competitive, and you've got the survival instinct in you that both kick
true.
in.
But he wasn't born like that. When he was being rocked by his mother, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that he's ultimately wrong for doing that. What you brought up is a massive point that is, isn't it fascinating, with a bit of training and a bit of conditioning, you can turn what is an ultimate spirit and light and a beautiful being that can be that with another individual and can engage in that. But through misinformation, through narratives, through everything else, we can ultimately do that to each other once as well.
We just need to start having faith in one another and finding ways of releasing that frustration. And maybe it's by doing something new. Maybe it's by going completely out of your comfort zone that does something to take out that frustration. Maybe it's still getting back into what it was beforehand that you used to do to pass the time and to keep your mind occupied, yourself focused, and the positive energy going through. Whether it was gym, going for a run. I mean, with the gym aspects of it, Zach love watching documentaries. I love watching documentaries, and there was ages ago, but there was a video where a guy who was in prison made his own workout routine, and when he got out of prison, actually put himself to work and ended up buying himself his own gym. But his workout routine, was literally everything done by like a 4x6 square or 4x8 square, whatever it is, or rectangle, whatever. And his workout was literally whatever he had in the room he had to use. It just goes to show that you can use stuff to your advantage. You just have to get a bit creative. And if you really want to do it, you'll find a way of doing it.
Flip the mindset. Because when you're in that 4x4 or whatever the dimensions was, they know why they design a cell so small. It's not for comfort, it's not for you to enjoy, it's not for you to have happy times. It's for you to feel that element of incarceration psychologically as well. So you either go with that and then become a product of it, or you flip it. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you become an actor? You've seen it before. Someone who's gone in for the most heinous crimes and comes out a Buddhist monk. And I know some people may say, well, they don't deserve to come out, but the flip of the mindset while it's going through them processes is the interesting thing itself. Whether they deserve to get out, I'm not saying that at all. But it's putting yourself in that happy space. And this was a point that we touched on as well in one or two of the chats that we had last week, that ultimately, if you don't do that as an individual now, then what good are you on the outside world anyway? If you're not in control of the low vibration at this moment in time. Outrage, yeah, but there's got to be a control element to that. Because at the same time, we're dealing with a lot of sorrow, a lot of sadness. There's so many different emotions that are banging us at the same time here. And we've got to learn how to calibrate it and still be a decent human being to our friends, family, loved ones, etc. But also to the outside world, you've still got to maintain a positive and productive life, no matter what's going on, even if you've still got to rejiggle on how and what it means for you now in this new world. But it's the mind. Only you can do it. It's an individual. No YouTuber can tell you to do it. You've got to think and ultimately come to them conclusions yourself on what it means for you. Same again. You know what I mean? It's beautiful times, I think, Kater, in a weird, macabre way.
It is. It's like someone was saying earlier in the chat that they don't know if anything's possible to stop this great reset. But that's not the attitude we need to be having. Because either way, we can't just go back. Back wasn't working. What we had wasn't working. It was just more covered. We're still going to have all the same issues, but they're just going to be still in the shadows. We're not going to shine any light on anything. So I think we need to change the mindset. Instead of stopping this reset, why don't we try and change it? Instead of instead of letting them go forward with what they want to do, we all start standing together, saying no and standing up for ourselves and our direct communities. And that's where it all stands for.
Well, let's face it, it is a reset. We can't dodge it. You can't put your fingers in your ears. And to answer this question here, I grew up in a predominantly white area, Miles Platin. There was only like 3 or 4 black families spread out over that area. Good and bad points over it, but I wouldn't change it for the world. But yeah, in terms of the reset, you can't change it. What you can do is reset you. It is a reset. It is a reset. And that reset can come in a very positive way for you. It's almost like they're dictating what the reset is.
I have to prove a point, by the way, about sorry. Every time I look in the tank, she's somewhere fucking new. Or maybe we can touch on her. She was over there before, and now she's.
Scary shizzle list, tell you.
She doesn't like me. If she knows someone's watching her, she will not move. And for some reason, even though I'm still sat in the same position, she seems to know I'm not watching and keeps fucking off.
She's messing with your head. That's what she's doing. She's playing psychological tricks. Same again. We can't say this to fellow human beings on YouTube about keeping in a good mental space if you're being psychologically ping-ponged by your spider in your house, Kater.
I know.
Come on. Come on.
Fuck.
She moved again. She's playing mind games with you. I'm telling you. She'll end up on your lap and it'll be like, how the fuck has she got out that tank? And she will. You'll just be doing something mundane and she'll just be there.
I really want to because it's so rare that you ever see her fucking move. I'll leave your camera there for a minute because I'm going to catch the fucker.
Look. Yeah, and you can see how much attention you're paying to it. So it's messing with your head now, this Kater. This is messing with your head.
She moved the phone. Can you see him tapping on the floor slightly? The small two right at the front, you'll see him slightly move. Unless she's going to fucking stop now. Correct.
Have you stuck gems on her or something?
No.
I know that's a very silly question, but from the angle I'm not... Look, right, I'm glad you've put the light. It was like you've gemmed her up. You know, like you get... People dress up the shoes and they stick on little gems and things. I'm thinking, has she got all gems all down them legs? Have you blinged up your spider?
Yeah, see your legs go then. You look, watch the front, you can see him going.
Yeah, look. I don't know whether...
Ultimate Molarizer said a question for Kater. Is your mate Coco also a truther? Courtney's my friend from Germany. Me and her were in the military together. She's also my son's godmother and lived with me here for a while. So we've known each other since we were 14. So it's literally one of them. She comes on the channel so that everyone's got the opportunity to ask her questions about, me as a parent, about my son, and hear it from someone who was there to see it themselves, sort of thing. And you also get to see what mine and her friendship was like.
Oh, cool. Our cuddler. Is someone having a laugh there? Our cuddler. There's nothing cuddly about a blinged out tarantula there. Look at it. Man, she's beautiful. Am I Am I just what's going on here? Am I just showing my little arachnophobia coming out?
I've got arachnophobia, but even I think like a patterning on her, a colouring on her is absolutely stunning. And she's got like a kiss pattern on her.
I'm waiting for all them gems to light up and start flashing, disco wire, like, and start doing body popping with all the 8 legs. I want to see that, Katie. Come on.
Well, if she starts walking, it'll look like it. But she's
Disco spider. Oh, she's pretty in a way, but I don't want her anywhere near me. And I'm just good. I'm good at the distance we've currently got. Let's put it that way.
I don't blame you, to be honest. I like the view of her. I don't like holding her.
Jumping spiders are sweet little cute things too. This person's displaying some attributes that I don't know what's going on here. Do you like knives being thrown at you whilst you're on stood next to a dartboard or something? I'm like, man, there's nothing. Jumping spiders, sweet and cute, do not belong in the same sentence. Jumping spiders mean get on your bleeding toes. So there's nothing cute about me having to get on my toes because a spider's about to jump on my neck.
Jumping spider though, because they are tiny little things. Like they genuinely are like tiny little things.
There you go. Look, I've got friends in here. No, Phil, it's not you. It's terrifying. I'm telling you, there's something not right here.
Oh,
Here's Sharon. Sharon's coming back.
Hi, Sharon.
Sorry, I had to disappear. My daughter rang. She's been in the hospital about her eye, hasn't she? And then she brought me some food in. So
good. We've just been admiring Taco because she's been walking around the tank every time that she thinks.
No, you've been admiring Taco. You've been giving me nightmares, Katie.
Yeah, I'm not arachnophobe, are you?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't want it anywhere near me, Sharon.
Yeah, we'll find out.
And I'm almost certain Katie's blinged up the spider. Anyway, I'm not prepared to say that that's natural markings. I think she stuck gems on the legs. She's blinged it out.
Anyone want a Goliath?
Beautiful from a distance. There you go. There you go. So I'm not arachnophobic to say that. As long as there's about 20 miles between us, then I'm good with saying it's beautiful. The closer it gets,
right with that, as long as she's in her tank, I'll give her space. She gives me my space.
Yeah, they are beautiful to look at, though. It's rational fear to have a fear of poisonous things, though, isn't it? It's not irrational to be scared of spiders that can kill you.
It's beautiful to look at, right? Imagine this picture. You wake up, right there. You what a bit of a drink. 3 a.m. You've got a whole room to yourself. You've got Mrs. Bling there sat on your face. You can see her quite clearly. Is she still beautiful to look at? That's the question I'm going to ask you. Or would you be pressing that panic button so bloody quick? Sorry.
Well, I'd want to know who put her there in first place, to be honest.
Well, there you go. There you go. There you go. That's probably the bigger question.
I'm trying to find the right video.
Yeah.
Tuck over it away from my food.
This is the colouring book that my daughter got me, look.
Tuck over my food yesterday.
Look.
Nice.
I love that. That's mint.
Nice. I like that. Like that. Not
sick.
like being real, is there? Yeah. Why not? Why not? Deep fried might be good. Someone wants to put your spider on the menu, Katie.
My brother keeps saying that, right? And I bought her for my brother, and she's my brother. She's my brother's. I bought her for my brother for Christmas a couple of years ago. And the first thing he said to me was, "Did you know tarantulas taste like walnuts?" I genuinely thought I just bought my brother a very expensive walnut and bought it a tank when I first gave it him.
I don't know where I'm going now.
Everything.
I am actually hungry, but you know, when you said taste the walnuts, I actually tried to think of
walnuts taste like
a crunch. Yeah, the crunch of it, and I'm like, this is uncomfortable. This because you're taking me to places I don't want to go. You know, I don't want to think of eating out your blinged out spider, Katie.
Well, at least you know if you're ever stuck in the wild and you come across a tarantula, they don't taste all bad.
My friend got me. She usually puts me a little, like for Christmas and that. She does me a little box with stuff in, like, because I'm gluten free. She puts little snacks and that in it. And deep fried crickets. She said, "I'm not giving you Haribo this year because I obviously." She said, "You got to get off the sugar now." So she gave me deep fried crickets. There was different flavoured ones. I did try them. The legs get stuck in your teeth. You pulling little bits out your teeth.
Oh, I guess that's going back to the hunter-gatherer and why, you know, this is the domesticated individual wincing here now because the thought of eating anything like that. I love Bear Grylls, and I used to love the programs.
Against my brother now because my brother's eaten everything, like crocodile, kangaroo, fucking my brother has eaten everything. I have questions for him.
Yeah, check this out. Where's this going? I saw them eating a giant spider and they used the fangs as a toothpick at the end. So at least that's using every bit of it.
Well, we might all be foraging before long if we don't get our passports.
Yeah, that's true. So
Sorry, you may get deep fried.
I know. Honestly, keep a leg for me, Katie, just in case shit goes down. I'm going to get some. But listen, ladies, I'm going to have to get going because I've got to go try and get some brownie points back. But have a great show. You've been doing a great job, and great to see you back as well, Sharon. And you take care and look after yourself, and we'll speak soon.
Enjoy the rest of Valentine's Day.
Thank you very much. And
I hope you spoke your missus.
I did in a way, probably not enough. Not enough. She deserves more. Let's put it that way, Sharon. She deserves a lot more, but I do try. And, you know, I am down.
Well, at least you didn't shoot her in the eye with a Nerf gun. That's the thing.
No. And I'm not going to put blinged out spiders on her face and say, "Isn't that beautiful, Eva?" So at least. But I hope everyone has a great Sunday and their Valentine's as well, and it won't be long before we'll be doing other stuff together as well, guys. So thanks a lot. I've enjoyed this little bit coming on here. Have a great show, and I shall see you both soon.
Take care.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Yeah, Keith messaged me. He said, "Are you still on?" He was watching the show, but he was watching it from the beginning. I said that was about 20 minutes ago.
Oh. Signals jumped. It's that guys that have come back on. It should come back on.
Yeah.
Back on now. Signal jumped.
I think my internet's gone down.
About 20 minutes ago and then it cut off.
I ain't got a router. Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I can hear you again now. It went dead after you said that was about 20 minutes ago, and then it kind of signal jumped.
Yeah, it keeps going off. It's just on my my phone's one, but I haven't asked them if they've got Wi-Fi in here. Thought I'm safer just staying on my own network. But
definitely. We've got someone that joined us on D Live, Mythic Rose, asking what's this about. We've just started on D Live, but we are on a couple of different platforms at the minute as well. But yeah, we're Children Matter. We do quite a few different things with different campaigns and everything, trying to fight for a better future for our kids and their country. And yeah, just trying to do our best to bring communities together as best as we can. You know, we're a big group and we're all from different causes, and we, you know, fight for the same thing, fight for our morals, for what's right, for what we believe in, you know, to give our kids a better future, what we didn't have. You know, and shitloads of us on the admin and all survivors ourselves as well, so we know what it's like.
And glad that so many people are starting to wake up as well, because it's been a hard road really, even just the last few years. But I think this last year definitely people are more waking up to what's going on. So that makes our job a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Oh.
We're not getting slated all the time as much.
Also, I think they failed with what they were trying to do with trying to start a race war, and I think they've moved on to the next thing that they already had in setting, like a plan B. They've probably got a couple of different plans, to prepare for what they want to do, how they want to go about it, and everything. And
well, GB, is it GB News? Have I got that right? There's a new news network setting up, GB News, and it's more right-leaning news. Well, truth-leaning news. All of those that want to tell the truth and can't do it on mainstream media.
Yeah.
They start setting up. Is it GB News? Somebody will know. Somebody will have heard about it. It's supposed to be like Fox News for the UK. Keeping it real. But there's more and more politicians coming out and speaking out against stuff as well. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's been on a couple of things, and he's saying it's the government's out of order for suggesting that people shouldn't be going on planning the holidays and all that crap. So I think
is it GB British News Channel?
Yeah, something like that.
When I'm clicking on it, it's taking me to Talk Radio to Reasoned.
I don't know. It's GB News, I think.
It does say it on the thumbnail, but it's not took me to the actual channel.
I don't know if it's set up yet. I think it's just in the process. I'm not sure. I just heard about it. These newsreaders that want to get the truth out there, I think that's what it's based on.
Yeah, 1 month ago, there was one put on GB News ramps up for mega launch. Okay, I'll do some digging into that.
Yeah. It's about time, isn't it? Because, you've got to feel for these people that want to tell the truth, but their hands are tied, and that's their livelihood. So they either lose the job or they play by their rules. Well, you get to a point, don't you, where you can't play by their rules. You've got to speak the truth no matter what. And I think that's more important to most of us than anything else, whatever job or whatever, you know what I mean? People might say that I've talked my way out of getting a job for the rest of my life because of things I talk about, but I'd rather be able to sleep at night, I'd rather go hungry and sleep at night than have my bank balance healthy and live a lie. So
I get you 100%. Debbie over on Facebook said, "Can you give me any information on the MMR? I noticed my son changed after he got his." If you go onto our original channel, which is childrenmatter.news, and go into playlist, and it should be on interviews, there's an interview with Jay Fargem, with myself and Jay Fargem. So if it's not in the interviews one, it will definitely be in the playlist under my name. But I've done 2 or 3 videos with him where we spoke about it, because he is the sort of kids vaccine campaign side of what we do. He now lives in Spain, but the information that was shared on there was quite helpful, and I'll be able to point you in the right direction to get in contact with him on which way to go about that, because he's been fighting about that for a while. Yeah, because it all needs targeting, including the vaccines, and we've been saying for a while in Children Matter for the last couple of years that we can't leave vaccines out of what we fight for. And this year and last year, it's become more important more than ever.
Because even before that, there's the ingredients in there, isn't there, that confuses the brain about what gender you're supposed to be, and there's things in there that parents are reporting it's caused autism in the children, and they're now saying that Robert Kennedy Jr. is banned off. He's banned off one of the platforms because he's disinformation about vaccines. But the only reason he started investigating them so much was because of all the reports he got from parents and the link to the autism and the vaccine damage that the children were suffering. And for me, it's like, are you going to put your child's life at risk, their future at risk, even if it's just the potential of not being able to have children themselves because it can make them infertile? Are you really going to risk that because the health service or the government dictate that you should give your child that vaccine? But then when you've got social services knocking on your door, threatening you, And you know, kids in care get.
Without vaccines, like the human race wouldn't exist now if we needed vaccines, because we would have died in the caveman era.
Well, yeah, it's like every medicine that we need is provided on God's earth, and they've just emulated that and substituted the natural stuff for the pharmaceutical stuff so they can make shitloads of money. I was reading today that insulin, the guys that created insulin, discovered insulin, they gave it away to the companies, so because they wanted everybody with diabetes to be able to have access to insulin. In America now, it costs them, somebody with diabetes, something like $500 a month to get their insulin. So, you know, they're just making money out of it. These people with the good intentions, wanting all, you know, everybody to have health, what they need for their health. And if you can't afford it, you're supposed to just die, you know. Hiya, Debbie. Debbie Theakston's put on there, you're right, Sharon, speak out. I'd rather lose my job and speak out. Yeah. I'm glad you still got your job though, Deb, because a lot of people are losing theirs, aren't there? And it's wrong. Have you seen the woman Sean Atwood? Yeah, it's terrible. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how guilty you would feel that you've taken your child for this vaccine and something's happened to them? I mean, it's terrible what they put these parents through. And, you know, pushing all this transgender when they know that there's some ingredient in the vaccine that's messing with the brain.
We shouldn't be forcing it on our kids anyway. We shouldn't be forcing it on anything or anyone. Like,
yeah.
Start asking more questions. Everyone needs to start asking more questions, doing more research, and start looking into things a bit more.
Absolutely. And they just take it for granted. Oh, well, you have to. My daughter was the same at one point. She was like, you have to get them vaccinated. And she took my granddaughter and didn't tell me. And anyway, they're asking her, she's time to go, she needed 3. So she said, I'm not going to take her. Because she's heard too many horror stories as well, you know. There's nothing you can do. I know at least 5 people personally that I've spoken to that's had children damaged by vaccines, and they know it was the vaccine because they know they see the difference in the child after they had it. So you know they can associate the two.
They really can.
Yeah, they do want to stay away from you because they don't like the truth. They don't want to think. People say, why would they do that? Well, there's a depopulation plan for a start. So, and they're trying to get one world order, complete control of the world. So, you know, there's a few reasons why they would do it. I think the concept is, how can somebody be so cruel to not care about human life?
We should be asking ourselves, why would they not? Why would they not do it? When they've come this far, why would they not?
Well, Bill Gates created a virus for his computer so that everyone would have to buy the cure for it. You know, it's only the same thing. He's just moved on to humans instead of computers, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's not like he's just randomly moved on to humans. Is it something he's been doing for a while?
Well, yeah. Was it his mother that was involved with eugenics? And his father, I can't remember, but I know that his father, when the guy, Starbucks came up for sale, and the guy that wanted to buy it, his friend was I don't know, a solicitor or something. He was in to do with law, and he suggested going and speaking to this guy who would probably invest in Starbucks, help him invest in Starbucks, and it happened to be Bill Gates' father. So he put the money up for this guy to get Starbucks. And of course, they're involved with all the GMO food. So everything in Starbucks is GMO. It's not.
She's on the move again. Keeps doing this every time, every single fucking time. So she knows it distracts me because she starts waving her fucking leg at me. Like, she's stopped now. She's
sizing you up.
Do it all the time. She's slowly making her way down to me as well. I'm going to show you where she is now. I'll get me the torch on actually first. She's going to wait me first. I don't really do monkeys. literally right down the side of the tank now. Like that is literally the edge of the tank. She's gone from all the way over there to where she's here. Yeah, absolute cunt. I've got a video of her running away from her food yesterday though.
Have you?
Actually running away from her food as well. It was amusing.
What are you feeding her?
Locusts, and they're crawling all around the tank, and I've got a box of 20 in front of my TV as well, which I'm not impressed about. Like literally the small plastic box on the end on top of that white piece of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's full of locusts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And there's 6 in there somewhere. I can see one at the back. Oh, there's 2 down there as well in front of her. It's like bugs.
Well, the most I've had out of the reptiles, we had a corn snake once.
I love corn snakes. I do love corn snakes. They are amazing. I'm getting back into my reptiles. I was saying before about it to people about getting yourself into a hobby, finding something to get your frustrations out, sort of thing. I'm getting back into my reptiles, but I'm also going to get into photography as well. So I'm going to try something new along with something old. So because I was always just turning around now, because I was always into my reptiles, and I've got my dream tank now. I'm going to be doing that up. I'm going to be getting myself some snakes. I'm going to be doing that tank back up, and possibly getting even more snakes. I'm not decided yet. I mean, my nickname was Medusa for a reason. Why is she's scratching her back to try and to spit hairs?
I'll stick to my dogs.
She doesn't like her bugs, like her food being free roaming in there. But I'm not hand feeding her.
Yeah, no.
I think the light might have pissed her off. It looks like she's going to make her way back again now. But Debbie says there's more suicides, more than ever. People dying of broken hearts and depression. Well, this is a problem, and it's one of the things that we mentioned earlier as well when Phil was on, was about the fact that people are taking their own lives because it's just too much.
Young people as well, because they don't see that they've got a future. They just keep messing with their heads. It's a psyops, isn't it? They're messing with them. They either don't want to go on with their own life, or they like my youngest daughter, who hasn't got any children. She's kind of like, what's the point of having kids, Mum? What sort of world are they going to be brought up in? And I remember my mum saying that when I was when I had my first, and then when I was planning to have another one, and she was like, "Oh, what's the point of bringing them into this world?" Even back then, I mean, she's 24 now, my daughter, youngest, but it's like, well, you can't just give up on life. You've got to keep the human race going, and you've got to hope that generation will change the world for themselves. But we've got to set that in action for them. We've got to set the wheels in motion for like the likes of my grandchildren to have a better world to live in.
The world becomes worth living when you've got something to live for. I mean, I didn't even realise that until I become a parent. And I was one of them people where I was like, well, why would I want to bring a kid into a world like this when this is what? And that's because I was feeling bad. But as soon as I found out I was actually having a kid, and even more so when I held him for the first time and I looked at him, I realised this is why. For him, to give him a better life than what I ever had, and to watch him grow up and to actually see life evolve before my eyes. Because that's something that no one ever stops and thinks, actually, I'm actually going to be able to see something live, from nothing to everything, and it's going to fly by in no time.
This is why they've created such a selfish society, though, isn't it? It's so that people are just self-serving and thinking about themselves, and they're not. Having my first child, that completely changed my life. I was on a road to God knows what destruction. I guess I didn't care. I was like, live fast, die young. That sort of attitude. I was like, well, I'm not bothered about my life, because when you've suffered what you think you suffered, you don't realise at that age as well, because I was only young, that there's more to life than that. You know what I mean? You create your own happiness. Really, you've got to find it somehow, and that suffering helps you realise that there's happiness to be had. And having my first child, that was the turning point for me, because you've got something else to focus, someone else to focus on, and you're not doing it for yourself. Now, if you don't want to do it for yourself, you're doing it for your child. So I always say she was a blessing that the angels sent her along to save my life. Really, that's how I saw it. And now we're on grandchild number 3 coming up, and it's like the gift that just keeps giving. But I'll have my younger daughter thinking about it as well soon. So.
Well, do you want to finish up on one last comment? We've got one that's going. What advice do you have for people who are suicidal? Is finding hobbies the best thing people can do now? I keep on doing things that make me happy, and I try not to dedicate energy to negativity. Well, yeah. Try something new. Go out of your comfort zone a bit. Push yourself a bit. Give yourself something that you have to actually work on, because if it's something that you don't have to put any effort into, if it's something that's just there in front of you, then it's going to take you a hell of a lot longer to enjoy it, to actually gain some benefit from it, because otherwise it's just going to be a chore, or it's just going to be, you know, an obstacle you have to get around. Whereas if you find something that you could put your passion into, like I never thought I'd, you know, ever take up photography, but that's something that I'm looking into, because I can do it along with my steaks and my tarantula and get, you know, some decent pictures of them, and, you know, might even be able to start educating people on, you know, a separate channel and everything. That keeps my mind occupied. It keeps me doing stuff. It helps me also build another type of community in the reptile world. So there are always things that we can get around and we can do, but everything's work. I work.
Well, I would say to people, get outside, walk out in the countryside, or wherever you can that's open spaces or trees or something, somewhere where you can just breathe freely, take your mind off things. Get a pet, because having something or someone else to concentrate on always helps. But also telling yourself this too shall pass, because it will. Everything. That's the biggest thing I realise, is what I would have missed out on had I succeeded. What I would have missed out on in my life, and what I would have left as a legacy. The people that you hurt when you leave like that. There's always somebody that cares about you. Always. Even when you think there isn't, there is. Because you go down to the local church or somewhere like that, be around people that do things that are caring towards other people, that offer charitable things. You know, go help out at a local charity so that you feel like you're being useful. Give yourself a purpose. Find, like you say, find a hobby that gives you some peace. Listening to music, walking on the beach. Just always remember that nothing ever stays the same. So if you're in good times, at some point they're going to be bad. If you're in bad times, at some point they're going to be good. Nothing ever stays the same. And you change your thinking as you get older. You know, I'm a completely different person to what I was when I was your age. You know, and remember that the suffering helps us grow. It makes us stronger. It gives us a foundation to build from, and it does pass. And if you can just fight your way through it, fight those thoughts away. Don't think that the only way to end any misery is to take your life, because it isn't. There's lots of other ways to end that misery, to find your way out. It's just you've got to invest in yourself. And if you do feel like nobody loves you, then you love yourself. You realise that I've got a purpose in life. I was born for a reason, and it's finding that purpose and reason, I think, that gives you that motivation to carry on. And even if it's just, I don't know, if you don't like people, go pick litter off the beach and feel like you're doing something. Or if you like people, go help out at some place. If you like animals, there's places you can help out, you know, looking after animals that are neglected. It's there's always something you can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's how things set off, was because, you know, I was getting, you know, we're rehoming reptiles. We had to bring them in. We had to, you know, retame them and everything, get them used to being handled, to being fed, to being in ones in, you know, some cases, and, you know, getting ready to be rehomed and that. And that's how I got into you know, reptiles. And there's always a way. There's literally, for anything you want to do, for any way you want to be in life, there's always a way. And even if what you like, even if you're just taking time out to learn a new skill or a new trick, like video editing. Red Pill Phil's going to teach me some tricks with video editing because I'm crap at it, and that'll help Children Matter in the long run. The photography that will eventually be doing when I've got the snakes, that'll also help because it'll help with demos and with getting news articles and everything out. Like, there is ways around it. There is ways.
And also, I think a lot of people have committed suicide recently because of the medication they've been given for depression. If you can find other therapies and avoid the medication. I know in some cases you've got to have the medication, right? Try the natural remedies first. Try other things first before you go down that route, because the doctor will just happily sign a prescription for antidepressants and they're not even checking. I know that there's a number of times they've given other medication. The guy next door to me, right, he's diabetic and he's also got mental health problems. And because of the combination of medication that they gave him, he had to have a testicle removed. And he said it's because of the medication, the combination that they had. And he went to the doctors recently. He went in the pharmacy, gave them the prescription. They said, we can't give you this because you're already on this other medication. It'll kill you. So you've got to check the combinations. Go on Google, and if you get any medication, check it against any other medication you're on, because seriously, they don't check a lot of the time. They just whatever's the latest recommended antidepressant or whatever.
My friend Courtney had a similar issue where she was given medication, and when she didn't take it, luckily, but when she went back, another doctor that she saw told her that mixed with her antidepressants would have killed her. So they can't put me on antidepressants because of my blood condition. I used to be on my blood medication. My life expectancy is already 48. I'm already over halfway through my life. Mixed with a certain antidepressant, mixed with two different antidepressants, so different times, obviously, not the same one, but either of them two antidepressants mixed with my blood medication would kill me. They'd turn into a poison.
Well, remember, Katie-Jayne, remember what I said to you about me thinking about the breast cancer and everything, and I had to wait 15 years before, because I had that insurance policy, right? You need to change that thought to my life expectancy. Switch the numbers around to 84, not 48, to 84.
It gives me motivation. I've changed it from a negative to a boost, a bit of motivation, because last thing I want is for my kids not to get my side, not to get to know me and who I am. So I've got as many opportunities up until whenever it is to show my kids who I am, to fight for them, to give them the tools that they need to protect their future kids, people around them, to make sure they know who they can turn to, where they can turn to, whatever. I've got that time to do that. So if I didn't put myself on a time limit, chances are I'd do what I always do, and I wouldn't see the importance in doing it. I'd probably just lay back and probably do like a video a month or every 2 or 3 months, that sort of thing. Because I've got that time limit, and obviously I want my kids to know who their mum is. It pushes me. So I mean, you can use even the most negative of thoughts to use it as a positive inspiration or positive boost.
Yeah. The mind's an amazing thing as well. What you tell yourself is so important, because when you fill yourself up with negative words, negative self-talk, every word has an energy to it, has a vibration to it. And if you're using negative words all the time, you're feeding that into your psyche, if you like. It's like the experiment they did with the plant, isn't it? One plant, they said positive words to it every day. You're beautiful. Look how well you're growing, and you're going to be beautiful, and whatever. The other one, they calling it, like saying, look at you, you're useless. You're just a weed. You're nothing. And one thrived and one died, and they were in the same conditions apart from the words that were being used with each plant. And that was an actual scientific experiment that they did, and it proved that the negative words damaged the plant, damaged the life of the plant. It didn't thrive at all. So yeah, it's really important to, even like my kids, my daughter and her husband, they call each other names and stuff, just messing on and that. But I keep saying to them, don't even do that. You know what I mean? Just just say nice things as much as possible. I know it's hard sometimes, and we all like a little rant and everything, but it's so important to use positive words. You know, yeah, you just.
I've been stung by a few words in the past, which will stay with me forever. And it's one of the things I used to say, like growing up and everything, was I never needed to be good with my hands. I just needed to be good with my words. Because words can stick with you a hell of a lot longer than a bruise or even a scar. You know, and if you're good with your words, you're all right. You've got, you can cover your own back as long as you're not too cocky with your words. That's the difference. Cocky with your words and being good with your words are different. But
Yeah,
it goes to show you don't need to use your fists to do it, like to get to where you need to be. You can use logic, not necessarily always just words, but you can use logic, and even words come in many different forms.
and children are so sensitive as well. You know, if you I know that you say, oh, it's only a bit of teasing or something, but if you've got a sensitive child, you've got to be conscious of that. Some kids don't mind; they'll just tease you back, but some other kids are really sensitive, and they really absorb the things that you say to them, and they take it on, and it becomes part of who they are. When you know, it's maybe just a flippant comment or a bit of teasing that they think's harmless, but it really is important to have the right vibration and to.
I got bullied my whole life since birth. I got bullied. I'm the first ginger in my family. I'm fucking freckly as anything, and I was a chunky kid. You know, so I got it literally from birth, like all the way through school, through high school, even college. I've always been bullied. Eventually, you do grow thick skin, but the words stick because you know how much words, what the significance is.
Yeah, it's like I grew up in a household where we were all calling each other names and fighting, and you know, my dad was aggressive with my mum and things like that, and there was a lot of swearing going on or whatever. And I never did that with my girls. I never called them. Obviously, I get angry sometimes and have a chunter, but they were both overweight at school, and it wasn't until about a year ago, really, my oldest daughter realised when her boy was going through a bit of an issue with a friend he had at school. And I reminded her of a situation that when she really loved this friend. She's still friends with her now. She really loved her. But this girl was quite cruel with her at primary school. She was teasing her and showing off in front of the boys as they do. And my daughter would come home and take it out on me because she'd be upset and angry. But she, you know, I never interfered because she loved this girl. And she, like I said, they're still friends. So I was pointing out to her that if you get involved, if he wants to be friends with him, you get involved. You know, they'll be friends at school and you'll have had an argument with the mother, and you know, it causes issues. And she realised then that it was never me that made her feel bad about herself. It was always her friends. But she was angry with me because they would say things to her. And I was obviously the person that she could take it out on. And she'd not really thought about it. She just kind of thought, well, you're the one, you know, it's your fault I'm overweight. But I would never say anything about the weight either because I didn't want him to have an eating disorder, which I'd had. And I thought if I go on about the weight, I just used to say, if you're not happy, change it. You have the power to change it. You have control of what you put in your mouth. So if you're not happy with something, just change it. If you can change it, do it. Make yourself happy. And I left it at that. But yeah, she felt that, you know, she'd been criticised all her life, but it were never from me. And it's nice that she knows that. You know what I mean?
It sounds a lot like me and my mum, to be honest. I mean, it's one of them when you get to a certain age and you understand and you realise and you learn what your emotions are and you learn how to regulate them and understand them a bit more, things become a hell of a lot more clearer.
Yeah.
But we're about 2 hours and 15 minutes. If you're all right, you ready to wrap up?
Yes. I'm going to get that paracetamol I asked for 3 hours ago.
God, yeah, I'd go get that. Thank you, everybody, as well, for joining us on every channel that everybody's on. Really appreciate it. If you want to come and see any of our stuff, our channel should be back up and running again soon. Don't know how long for, but it should be soon. So you can find us on childrenmatter.news on probably every platform going. But yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us. You've been absolute legends. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Valentine's Day as well. Thank you, Sharon.
Yes. And I'll be out of here tomorrow, hopefully.
Hopefully you feel better when you're home, back in your own bed.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks everybody for the well wishes and stuff. So yeah. It all helps.
Thank you, Sharon. I'll see you again soon, guys. Bye.
Bye, people.